Hello and welcome. You're watching News Tonight with me, Vishal Dahiya. And before we begin, we would like to make an appeal to all our viewers to stay safe from the COVID-19 pandemic. Remember to wear a face mask, wash your hands and face regularly, and ensure that you maintain physical distancing whenever you're stepping outside. These simple precautions are all it takes to defeat the pandemic. Let's now take a look at the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds summit-level talks with Sheikh Hasina, gifts 109 ambulances, 1.2 million COVID vaccine doses to Bangladesh. India signs 5 agreements in connectivity, commerce and information technology. India and Bangladesh want stability, love and peace in the world instead of instability, terror and unrest. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses Matwa community in Aurakandi, says both nations facing pandemic strongly. Huge voter turnout in first phase of assembly polls in West Bengal and Assam. Over 80% voters cast their votes in West Bengal, 72% in Assam. Campaigning intensifies for second and third phases. Derailing debates is derailing democracy. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu calls for upholding values in public life, expresses concern over frequent disruptions in legislatures, urges members to spend time in legislatures more constructively. And Centre holds high-level meeting with 12 worst hit states and union territories, directs them to increase testing and vaccination, emphasizes COVID-appropriate behavior. More than 62,000 fresh cases reported in the past 24 hours. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Saturday reviewed the India-Bangladesh relationship with his Bangladeshi counterpart, Sheikh Hasina. They also discussed ways to deepen economic and cultural linkages between the two countries. Modi and Sheikh Hasina led delegation-level talks, after which 5 bilateral agreements, connectivity, commerce, information technology and sports were signed. Prime Minister Modi also gifted 109 ambulances and 1.2 million doses of COVID vaccines to Bangladesh on this occasion. Both leaders later issued postage stamps and silver and gold coins to commemorate the Golden Jubilee of diplomatic relations between the two countries and the memory of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman.
Some discussions on how you could preserve the legacy and spirit of 1971, commerce and connectivity, cooperation in water resources, security, defense, power and energy, and new areas like artificial intelligence, environment, societal applications of nuclear energy, etc. Lots of different areas, but also new areas, which is very important in our what our Prime Minister called Nayi Urja, Nayi Gati, new energy, new path, people connectivity. The two sides have also agreed to start a new passenger train service, which is called Mitali Express, between New Jalpaiguri and Dhaka, starting from Dhaka cantonment, on the recently restored Chilahati-Haldibadi rail link. As you know, in December, the two Prime Ministers inaugurated this 5th of the 6th rail links that existed prior to 1965. It's a very important rail link that connects North Bangladesh with North Bengal in the state of West Bengal. And starting this passenger service really is a recreation of what used to happen before 1965.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also met President of Bangladesh Abdul Hamid in his last leg of his Bangladesh visit. He apprised the Bangladesh President of the cooperation efforts between the two countries. In a series of tweets, Prime Minister Modi thanked PM Sheikh Hasina and the people of Bangladesh for their warm hospitality during his visit. He said that visit will lead to further strengthening of bilateral ties between the two nations. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Saturday offered prayers at the centuries-old Jashoreshwari Kali temple in Satkhira district. Praying for a coronavirus-free world at Kali temple, Prime Minister Modi said he feels fortunate to visit the goddess just ahead of Chaitra Navratri. He also announced a grant for the construction of a community hall cum cyclone shelter attached to the Kali temple in Bangladesh. According to Hindu mythology, the Jashoreshwari Kali temple is one of the 51 Shakti Peeths scattered across India and neighboring countries.
इस कोरोना के संकट से जल्द मुक्ति दिलाएं। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः जिस मंत्र को हमने जिया है, वसुधैव कुटुंबकम, जो हमारे संस्कार की विरासत है, हम पूरी मानव जात के कल्याण के लिए प्रार्थना करते हैं। आज मुझे 51 शक्तिपीठ में से एक मां काली के चरणों में आने का सौभाग्य मिला। आज जब मैं इस पवित्र धरती पर आया हूं और मैंने सुना है कि हाँ, मां काली की पूजा का जब मेला लगता है, बहुत बड़ी तादाद में भक्त सीमा के उस पार से भी और यहां से भी यहां आते हैं।
And Bangladesh want stability, love and peace instead of instability, terror and unrest in the world. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said this on Saturday, on the second day of his visit to Bangladesh. He made the remarks while speaking to the Matwa community members after offering prayers at their temple in Gopalganj, Orakhandi. Orakhandi is the birthplace of Hindu mystic figure and community's spiritual guru Harichan Thakur. He also underlined that the two friendly neighbors want to see the world progressing through their own development.
आज भारत और बांग्लादेश के सामने जिस तरह की समान चुनौतियां हैं, उनके समाधान के लिए श्री श्री हरिचांद देव जी की प्रेरणा बहुत अहम है। दोनों देशों का साथ मिलकर हर चुनौती का मुकाबला करना जरूरी है। यही हमारा कर्तव्य है। यही इन दोनों देशों के करोड़ों लोगों के कल्याण का मार्ग है। कोरोना महामारी के दौरान भारत और बांग्लादेश दोनों ही देशों ने अपने इस सामर्थ्य को सिद्ध करके दिखाया है। आज दोनों ही देश इस महामारी का मजबूती से मुकाबला कर रहे हैं और एक साथ मिलकर मुकाबला कर रहे हैं। मेड इन इंडिया वैक्सीन बांग्लादेश के नागरिकों तक भी पहुंचे, भारत इसे अपना कर्तव्य समझकर काम कर रहा है।
The Prime Minister said India is moving forward with the mantra of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas and Sabka Vishwas. And Bangladesh is its co-passenger in it. He said that during the COVID-19 pandemic, India and Bangladesh have proved their capabilities.
साथियों, भारत आज सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास इस मंत्र को लेकर के आगे बढ़ रहा है और बांग्लादेश में इसमें सहोजात्री है। वही बांग्लादेश आज दुनिया के सामने विकास और परिवर्तन का एक मजबूत उदाहरण पेश कर रहा है और इन प्रयासों में भारत आपका सहोजात्री है। मुझे विश्वास है श्री श्री हरिचांद देव जी के आशीर्वाद से, श्री श्री गुरुचांद देव जी की प्रेरणा से हम दोनों देश 21वीं सदी के इस महत्वपूर्ण कालखंड में अपने इन साझा लक्ष्यों को हासिल करेंगे। भारत और बांग्लादेश प्रगति और प्रेम के पथ पर दुनिया का पथ प्रदर्शन करते रहेंगे।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also visited the birthplace and mausoleum of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman in Tungipura in Gopalganj district of Bangladesh. This is the first time that an Indian Prime Minister paid a visit to the mazar of the father of the nation and also known as Bangabandhu. Prime Minister Modi paid tributes to Bangabandhu and laid a wreath at mazar. He observed brief silence as a mark of respect to the memory of the man responsible for the freedom and creation of Bangladesh. The Prime Minister also signed the visitors' book and also planted a sapling. We'll take a short break here, and on the other side, there's some more news for you. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Let's now take a look at some more stories of the day. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu on Saturday called for upholding values in public life. He expressed concern over frequent disruptions in legislatures and parliament. Speaking at the centenary celebrations of former parliamentarian and educationist Nukala Narottam Reddy, Naidu said that the recent incidents in certain state legislatures were disheartening. Cautioning against disruptions in legislatures, Vice President Naidu stated that disruption means derailing debate and derailing democracy and the nation. He reminded that conduct in parliament and legislatures should be in the pursuit of 3 Ds: discuss, debate and decide. Vice President underscored the need for connecting with one's own constituents through his or her own mother tongue. He also called for upskilling the youth to meet the demands of the 21st century. In his speech, the Vice President praised late Shri Narottam Reddy for his invaluable contributions to the education sector as an administrator in Osmania University.
It is not only Rajya Sabha. We are seeing in different legislatures what happened in Karnataka some time back. What happened even here also earlier. What happened latest in Bihar. What happened even in the upper house or lower house sometimes. It's really disheartening. If that trend continues, people will be disillusioned. Disruption means derailing. Derailing the debate in parliament is derailing democracy, derailing the nation, which has got such a great potential. This has to be understood by all.
Let's now take a look at some news from the assembly elections. Polling concluded for first phase of assembly elections in West Bengal. The overall situation remained peaceful except for sporadic incidents of violence from a few places. Over 80% turnout was recorded till 5 p.m. Voting was held amid tight security for 30 assembly constituencies, several of them fall under the once Naxal-hit Jangal Mahal region. Of the 30 seats that went to polls, 9 are in Purulia, 4 each in Bankura and Jhargram, 6 in Paschim Medinipur and 7 in Purbo Medinipur district. More than 73 lakh voters were eligible to exercise their franchise during this phase, and 191 candidates were in the fray, including 21 women. The TMC and BJP fielded candidates in 29 seats each, while the left Congress ISF alliance put up candidates in all 30 seats. Around 730 companies of central forces guarded 10,288 polling booths. All COVID-19 guidelines were followed in letter and spirit during the polls. First phase of polling for 47 assembly seats in Assam was also concluded peacefully on Saturday. 72% of over 81 lakh electors exercised their franchise till 5 p.m. 264 candidates were in the fray in the first phase of these polls. Congress had fielded 43 candidates, Ahom Jatiya Parishad 41, and BJP fielded 39 candidates for the first phase. Fates of 10 candidates of the AGP and 78 independent candidates have also been sealed in the EVMs. All COVID-19 guidelines were also followed here during the polls, including sanitization of polling booths and thermal screening of voters. Some of the key candidates in this phase include Chief Minister Sarbananda Sonowal, who cast his vote at a polling station in Dibrugarh. Other big names who contested in the first phase in Assam include outgoing Speaker Hitendranath Goswami and Assam Congress Chief Ripun Bora. 300 companies of security forces were deployed for 11,500 polling booths in 12 districts of Assam for this phase. 3 main alliances are locked in a contest in the state, including the BJP-led National Democratic Alliance, which includes Assam Gon Parishad, the Grand Alliance led by the Congress, and the United People's Party Liberal. President Ramnath Kovind was shifted to the All India Institute of Medical Sciences on Saturday for a planned bypass procedure, which is likely to be performed on Tuesday. President Kovind has been under observation after a routine medical checkup at the Army Hospital in Delhi following chest discomfort on Friday. The hospital has said that President's health condition is stable and he is under the care of experts. In a Twitter message, President Kovind thanked everyone who inquired about his health and wished him well. Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan on Saturday chaired a high-level meeting with 12 states and union territories, which are reporting a spike in coronavirus cases. During the meeting, the states were advised to focus on stringent containment and public health measures in 46 high caseload districts. The states and union territories were asked to adopt a 5-fold containment strategy to limit the spread of the virus. They were asked to increase testing and ensure people follow COVID-19 appropriate behavior. They were also asked to carry out effective isolation and contact tracing of those infected. Bhushan also stressed on the need for efficient clinical treatment and increasing the pace of vaccination. Meanwhile, India's active cases have reached 4.52 lakhs on Saturday, comprising 3.8% of the total infections. 62,258 new cases were reported in the last 24 hours, taking the COVID-19 tally to over 1.19 crore. The death toll increased to 1,61,240, with 291 new deaths in the same period. COVID-19 recoveries have crossed 1.12 crore, with 30,386 recoveries in the last 24 hours. The country's recovery rate has come down to 94.84%. Maharashtra, Punjab, Chhattisgarh, Karnataka, Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh continue to report a surge in Delhi COVID-19 cases. Now, the 6 states contributed 79.57% of the fresh cases reported in the last 24 hours. Maharashtra reported the highest daily cases at 36,902. It is followed by Punjab with 3,122 cases, while Chhattisgarh had 2,665 fresh cases. Now some news about vaccination update. Over 5.81 crore COVID-19 vaccine doses have been administered to beneficiaries in the country so far. These include over 80 lakh healthcare workers and 87 lakh frontline workers who've been given the first dose, over 51 lakh healthcare workers and 35 lakh frontline workers who have received the second dose of the vaccine as well, and 61 lakh beneficiaries aged above 45 years and over 2.6 crore people aged above 60 years have also been vaccinated. And in some more news, President Joe Biden has invited Prime Minister Modi to a global summit on climate change being hosted by the United States of America next month. Biden has invited 40 world leaders to the climate summit that aims to underscore the urgency and the economic benefits of stronger climate action. This two-day summit will be held virtually on 22nd and 23rd of April and will be live-streamed to the public. Other leaders invited to the climate summit are Chinese President Xi Jinping, Russian President Vladimir Putin, Japanese Prime Minister, Brazilian President, among others. The summit will also discuss opportunities to strengthen capacity to protect lives and livelihoods from the impacts of climate change and address the global security challenges. In his invitation, Biden urged leaders to use the summit as an opportunity to outline how their country will contribute to stronger climate ambition. Prime Minister Modi will share his thoughts with the people in the country and abroad in Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio at 11 a.m. on Sunday. It will be the 75th episode of the monthly radio program. The program will be broadcast on the entire network of AIR and Doordarshan. It will also be streamed live on the YouTube channels of AIR, DD News, PMO and Information and Broadcasting Ministry. A giant container ship remained stuck sideways in Egypt's Suez Canal for a fifth day on Saturday. The Evergreen, a Panama-flagged ship that carries cargo between Asia and Europe, ran aground Tuesday in the Suez Canal. Efforts are still underway to free the vessel. Authorities are making new attempts to free the vessel and reopen a crucial east-west waterway for global shipping. About 10% of the world trade flows through this canal, which is particularly crucial for transporting oil. And before we leave, let me remind you once again to stay safe from the coronavirus pandemic. Remember to wear a face mask and wash your hands and face regularly, and ensure that you maintain physical distancing whenever you're stepping outside. These simple precautions are all it takes to defeat the pandemic. That's all we have in this edition of News Tonight. Thank you. Keep watching Sunset Television.